And I'll turn the microphone on this time. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another 100% all keys race between JSR2Gamers and Highlander GCB underscore on your program. Make sure you give these guys a follow, and I'll have to redo the follower alert as well to compensate for the underscore that I messed up. But the runners are readying up, and they should be good to go soon. And at that time, I'll start the timer. We'll talk a little bit about the race, and then I'll fix the notification so we can follow the right Highlander, which is my problem to begin with. That's why I was a little slow. But I'll be joined in a couple minutes by Buzz Thunder, I believe. And please do let me know how the audio goes. As soon as we have it. They are in the countdown, so with the delay, we'll be seeing it within about 10 seconds here. Highlander cycles his cart. And we're underway. Highlander versus JSR. Looks like I can give it a little bit more audio. Please let me know again how the mix is. Magic Container Cave. We're going to see if anybody can get the leg up here with the 50-point p-bag drop. Highlander takes a bop there, so he's going to have to work on a different frame count. Highlander might lose a life in Magic Container Cave. At that point, I don't know if you're allowed to just totally reset.
Hey, Larry.
Hello, Buzz Thunder. How are you?
Doing well.
We have neither player got the drop in Magic Container Cave. Neither of them reset, though.
That's unfortunate, but with these guys, a tack-3 run shouldn't be a problem.
No, Highlander actually got bodied in Magic Container Cave, but he's going to be in the town soon, so he's going to have to take the refill. He lost 3.5 bars of life in Magic Container Cave. It didn't go well for him.
Yeah, that's very rare, especially for a player like Highlander. I don't think I've ever seen that from him.
Yeah, normally in caves that don't have lava pits, he's pretty good in. But he got bodied there, and he's going to have to take a little bit of time here to refill his health and be on his way. And JSR is the first to get the first spell of the game, the shield spell in Raru. How many times do you use the shield spell, Buzz? I know you lean on it pretty heavily in the randomizer. How much do you use it in an all keys run?
Yeah, I'm relatively new to all keys, but I cast it in the bot room in Palace 1 on my way in and my way out because those guys can kind of beat you up and get you killed. And then maybe a couple times in Great Palace, but yeah, I don't really use it a lot.
Yeah,
so I know these guys probably don't use it at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, most of the top time runners probably don't use it at all, but in a race situation, I wonder if anybody pulls it out a little bit more. I used to see Resner use it in Palace 5 in the Maga room, and I do see some people using it here and there in Palace 1, but it does seem like a spell, almost like fire. While it has a use, it might be like a too good to use syndrome. Especially if you're just going for PBs, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Coming up here to one of the more important time saves in the beginning of a run is the bubble skip, and both of our runners get it. Tell me if I'm far ahead or behind.
You're just a little bit ahead on Highlander.
Okay.
So, yeah, just hold your comments like 3 seconds. You should be good. But, yeah, they both got the bubble skip. But I have to fix Highlander's name on the bot because I spelt it wrong. So give me 1 second here. You can go ahead and take over the action.
Sure, yeah, I don't know if we do tutorial stuff, how many people know about this game, all the nuances and things, but Bubble Skip, it's a fixed encounter on the overworld, but if you run into one of the random encounters, those enemies, those little black guys that chase you around, if you run into that on a fixed encounter, it actually overwrites it, so basically landing it on that same tile is going to save you from having to deal with that. that little bubble room, which is pretty terrible because there's bubbles and there's water, and it's easy to die. But now we are in Palace 1. JSR with an early lead here. I'd give him about, I don't know, 10 seconds or so. Probably just all of it came down to getting beat up in that magic container cave for Highlander. But we'll see. We're going to be relying heavily on p-bag luck now that they both missed the initial p-bag. So you have a 50% chance to get 200 p-bags, which would get them back to the ideal leveling, which would be 411 coming out of Palace 1.
It's 50% per drop, so it's 25%
Yes.
chance for both of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew
exactly.
What you meant. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. You can actually take Life 2 now in Palace 1, since you missed out on the initial p-bag, since you are relying on that second p-bag to get attack 4. Whether you get the second bag or not, Life 2 is essentially free, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it might be useful if you really want to, not take the ferry to get your beam sword through a bubble room, but personally, having those extra life levels are better suited for Death Mountain, just because there's a lot more chance of taking damage, and you just want them not to reduce your damage taken, but just they're more helpful for the life refill at that point in the game.
Oh yeah, timing the life out where you absolutely need it would be pretty much like same thing with the magic levels. Timing your magic levels exactly when you need the refill is probably the more preferred of the way. Sometimes it doesn't go that way. Sometimes you can't plan it that way. So I guess better to have it before you start losing damage in this situation. But there's JSR with the first level up of the game, attack 2, and Highlander with the first death of the game. Or is that his second? It looked like it said ×1.
Wow, yeah, I didn't see the other one if he actually did, but yeah, Highlander having a real rough time.
Maybe I just caught it real quick. His screen's a little bit jittery, so I don't know if...
Yeah, his frame rate is very low.
You see JSR jumping into the wall there. That delays the bubble, or that makes the bubble move differently, where it's easier to jump over. But he decides to jump into it anyway.
And he won't have the beam going through this bubble room, but it doesn't look like he's gonna. I mean, again, these guys are pros. They're not gonna have much trouble dealing with and reacting with almost anything in this.
No, Highlander's going to have the beams, but JSR got out of there with no problem. Gotta tell you, earlier, for somebody who hasn't run 100% all keys a lot, in fact, I've never completed a run, honestly, but I never really also gave it the effort. In starting the run, your Palace 1 to Death Mountain seems like it's the hardest part. And then with your level ups and such, it doesn't become easier the game, but it just seems like, you can kill things faster, you can survive a couple hits here and there, and then it's all about managing your XP and not taking too many hits. But, if you can get through this area to Death Mountain and hopefully with attack 4, it's pretty much smooth sailing from there on out, and you have to take a real disaster, it seems like, to lose a substantial amount of time.
Yeah, the way that leveling works and has been optimized in this game, you get your attack levels so high so quickly that survivability is not terribly difficult unless you got to watch out for a couple rooms where bots are going to knock you into the lava. But other than that, you really shouldn't worry about game overing once you get the hang of leveling.
Yeah, and you'll get a couple. The only thing a little bit different is you can in not taking early deaths, you can sacrifice lives later on, and we'll see players do that in Palace 4. So Enchantress of Numbers pick up an extra 1-up and take a death in Medicine Cave just shortly thereafter to save some time as well.
And we did just see JSR take a death in Palace 1, so pretty rare to see two runners dying in the first Palace. I mean, all these guys would be resetting, but they're racing, so we're not going to see a reset.
Yeah, and that's the one difference. We'll look at the leaderboard here, and JSR has a one-place position. This is actually probably, according to time, might be our closest matchup of the tournament here. JSR is 11th place on the leaderboard with a 1:16.56. Highlander has a 1:17.15. That's 19 seconds that separate the runners. They're both in 10th and 11th place respectively. But sometimes, maybe not at the top of the leaderboard, but sometimes that PB mark is a little bit jaded, a little skewed, because you're resetting so many times to achieve that time, and it's not something you can pull off consistently. But both these runners are capable of hitting near that mark almost every time they run.
Yeah, I did want to comment on that because I don't think I'm mistaken, but for a long period of time, both of these guys actually had the exact same PB at, it was 1:18.11, because I remember I used to watch both of them doing this run. And then within like a couple weeks of each other, both of them PB'd by Highlander by almost a minute, and then JSR by more than a minute. So again, this is about as evenly matched as you can get.
One of the more exciting things when you watch these runners tackle this category is when they start bopping each other, and then they do that, salty run back thing where they have to get their position back, and they just keep going back and forth. That's a lot of fun to watch and track.
Yeah, it's good motivation. You finally get it, and then oh yeah, I moved up, and then all of a sudden you didn't. So you got to get right back at it, stay in the game.
Well, both players have defeated Palace 1. We didn't mention that they picked up the item in Palace 1, the candle. It is 100% all keys, so they'll be getting all items, all keys, all spells, all sword techniques, and the like. They picked up the trophy on their way to the town of Rudo, which they'll turn in for the second spell of the game, the jump spell.
Rudo? What's that? Never mind. No.
Yeah, it's hard in this category. I don't know if it's Town 2. Do we call it Town 2?
Yeah, we can call it. Yeah. Town 2.
But yeah, with that death from JSR, Highlander has caught up quite a bit, even though he died as well.
Yeah, it was heading into Palace 1 seemed about a 10-second difference, but now it looks like it's about 3 seconds. So yeah, we're right on top of each other.
I believe they call that the virtual piggyback.
Yeah, that's pretty
Banana.
Good. I like that. Banana.
But JSR just checks that house really quick just to make sure that there's no secret one-up or anything there. But he's out. He gave Highlander to leave there just by checking a house, and that can happen in a race. But now we're in Jump Cave. Buzz, you want to give us the history lesson on why Jump Cave is called Jump Cave?
It's called Jump Cave because there's a part where you have to cast the spell Jump so that you can move on. I'm pretty sure that's why they call it Jump Cave.
Yeah, I can see that.
Also, you jump a lot in it, but I mean, you jump a lot in this whole game, so...
Yeah, both players are doing it with the candle, though. They're not doing the dark route.
No, I'm not sure if anybody's done that in the tournament yet. I tried it one time, and then I was like, well, this is just a horrible idea. And doing all that dark apparently makes it so you're always going to get to the ideal leveling. But again, it's much harder to get used to doing all that stuff in the dark. It
does seem like a flawed strategy, because you're doing all that stuff in the dark and you're doing it with a lower attack level.
Yeah.
Might as well, especially in this category, just route it easier. I mean, if it was the better route, you'd probably see more people doing it consistently. Like Highlander right there goes from the road up to Bagu. JSR is coming from the top to Bagu, and I was talking with Auntie, and depending on the encounters you take on the way, that sometimes it'll be safer just to tackle it from the road. Other times, you can make the straight walk up to the top.
Yeah, it depends on that spawn, whether, if you dodge north or you dodge south. It's about ideal patterns and dealing with it, but either way works.
Yeah, and they're going to both make their way to the third town, the town of Saria, where they'll pick up the mirror and turn it in for the fairy spell. And the fairy spell is very key, Buzz, in this category.
That's incorrect, Larry.
It's very key in this category. Because you
Well,
can't
I
stick...
mean, it is. It is, but that's not the spell that they're getting.
Why not? Why can't they get the spell here? Isn't it randomizer?
Oh, okay. No. It's life spell.
Oh, okay, my bad.
So yell, dig, shake.
But it is a good spell, nonetheless. But again, like we're talking about with the shield spell, it's sometimes too good to use, especially whatever is on the horizon, where you need the magic to, let's say cast Reflect in Palace 4 or, whatever, cast Fairy to pick up an item. So your support spells are, they're useful, but sometimes they can hinder your progress as well.
Yeah, with all keys, definitely. Shield is a good spell, but life is more important just because you're more reacting to, whether you take damage or not. So casting shield preventatively is not as effective because if you don't take any damage, you don't need to waste any magic at all. So
right. And there's going to be a situation in Death Mountain, where there is a red jar that you can fill up, so you can get a free life refill, so to speak. And then when you go grab the item, after you grab the hammer, you get another free refill when you just before you pick up the magic container if you need it or haven't used it already.
Yeah, and normally an enemy has a 50% chance of dropping a red jar right around that time too. So there's a lot of magic refills right in that area.
Yeah. And there'll come a time in this game, probably somewhere around Palace 2, definitely going into Palace 3, where additional pbags don't really help you at all because of optimum leveling strats and all that. The jars will help you more, especially if they're in key parts of the game or you do need to, hit that life spell.
Yeah, experience is short and a little bit tricky. Like you said, up until Palace 2, but once you get to Palace 3, there's just so much extra experience around there. If you're at ideal levels, people don't kill, you don't want to kill anything in there, basically. You skip the vast majority of them. But if you're behind on levels, you can just kill a few and get right back on track, which is most likely what we're going to see both of these players doing.
And both of them are doing Death Mountain at Palace 3 because they did not get a double drop and they did not get the drop in Magic Container Cave. Coming up here on Highlander screen pretty soon is going to be the first encounter of a red Dyra.
Yep, this one can be pretty tricky because you do have those bots that want to jump down on your head. And at attack 3, you got to hit him extra time or 2. I really don't know how many it is. It's 4 at attack 4.
I think it's 6 versus 4.
Okay, that sounds right. But we see Highlander get through there, no problem. These guys are both pros. Double hits on those Dyras. This is a pretty tricky advanced attack technique, but seems as though both of these runners have mastered it.
Just a couple more caves left for Highlander to go. Dark Magician wants to know how did Highlander move the item drop, but I don't know, honestly. Rep, I guess, confirms that he did skip the monkey in Palace 1.
Oh, is that what? Yeah, he walked under. Yeah, walked underneath the Guma, the Gumme.
The Gumme, yeah.
Which is a pretty nifty little trick. First time I saw it, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, Rep brings up a great point here that I never even considered, that since his first drop was a jar in Palace 1, he skips the last, or he skips one large enemy, and it gives him an extra drop in Death Mountain. Instead of getting both jars or a jar and a useless p-bag in Palace 1, he moves that second drop later on, which turns out to be in Death Mountain. That's interesting.
Yep, these guys understand the game a little better than I do.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
For sure.
So both players seem to have no issues at all with, as expected, with Attack 3 in Death Mountain. JSR is the first to arrive. Well, actually, he's the second to arrive at Attack 4. I guess I was watching his screen when Highlander did level up on that Dyra. He's got a little bit of a XP lead here going towards Attack 5 as well, but again, that's going to balance itself out anyway to where that won't be that much of an advantage if he takes it before Highlander does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even if you have bad luck with jar drops, I don't even know if that can 100% hold you back from getting attack 6 coming out of Palace 2.
I mean, probably not, because JSR would just be at like 171 right now. And there's probably a decent amount of XP in 2.
So picking up the hammer, hammer's a good item. You need it. Again, you need everything in this category, but you can break blocks with it, and helps you. It's basically just another roadblock. You can access different parts. Also, you can cut down trees with the hammer.
Yeah, and if things go bad, you can write bad words in the forest. But when you do take an encounter, all the trees spawn back, so it's useless to try to perfect that.
Yeah, you got to be pretty good at avoiding encounters to put some hilarious words in the forest.
Like, where's Dig Shake?
Yeah, exactly.
I always get hit at the question mark by an overworld encounter, so it doesn't matter. Highlander gets the magic container cave, the magic container in the boulder blocked area first, and JSR gets it second, gets a troll carrot. Right on what would be a clean walk, but he fills up his health. And they're going to go on to the other side. Now, here's the interesting thing I always consider is you're not running PB. You're doing a race strat. Highlander is down a life. Is he going to pick up this one up? Or is he just going to do one less sacrifice in Palace 4 later on?
That's interesting. I figured with seeing both of them take a death in the first Palace, I would assume that they are both going to grab it, just because it's not really far out of your way.
Yeah, that's right, JSR.
And, I mean, game overing is going to be really, costly. That's basically the race right there. So Highlander does go grab it, and we'll see if JSR does the same.
And you are allowed to stream snipe in this category, or in fact in any technical race. So JSR maybe sees Highlander get the one up, and then decides, well, this may be his advantage to gain back some time and not get it. But I don't know if that's necessarily true, but that's something that could happen. We can ask him after it's over.
Yeah, game overing's probably the last thing on their minds, honestly.
Probably
you've never even seen a game over screen.
A game over in this category normally means the end of the run, but in a race situation in a tournament, it just means that wherever you game over, you have to go back to where you took the game over. You just have to enter the screen you were in when it happened. There is one exception where you can take an intentional game over, and that's in the Great Palace. You can go back up the elevator and then jump into the barrier and kill off your life to get your full complements of life back. Else, intentional game overs are at subject for disqualification.
Yeah, that was really interesting to learn about that, because I never even considered it or knew that you could exit and go back and run into the barrier. I didn't even know the barrier hurt you until recently.
I did, because I've done runs plenty of times in randomizer where I haven't had all the gems.
You didn't have the cross.
I didn't have the cross. Yeah, well, that's funny. But I didn't have all the gems, so I would just jump into the barrier because I thought it would work, and it didn't work. But if there was a boulder there on a Highlander screen, you just have to go do smash on the right frame, and then you can walk right through that road. But he's going to enter the town of Mido now, Buzz. And I think it's correct to say that we're going to get the spell of fairy here.
Yes, I believe you will get fairy in this town, as well as downstab. I think you start with downstab, really, but this guy just tells you to push down, and then you realize, oh, I should have been pushing down this whole time.
That'd be amazing if that really worked.
It was just like you always have it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, geez, dummy, press down. Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure as a kid I would have thought like it meant something different, like I was doing it wrong, like I already had this, like you just gave me something else. But, yeah, fairy spell is especially useful in this category because you can bypass Link's humble brag animation where he holds up every item by just casting fairy, pick up the item, and then just leave. You save a few seconds. And again, there's 16 seconds or 19 seconds separating these runners' best time. So every single one of those you can skip, even though both of them are doing it. But every single one of them you can skip if you have the magic. Could be instrumental into taking the lead or winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, you think about stuff like that, you know, it's like, oh, really, how much is that time going to really save you? But, you know, it adds up. This is a long run, and you want to save every little bit that counts. You know, it really comes down to all those overworld encounters. You get one of those, you know, it's going to add another like 5 to 10 seconds to your run. So you got to save time where you can.
And also saving time where you can is queuing up the spell you need before you need it in certain places where you have to wait for a little bit of fanfare anyway, like when you place a gem or when you get another spell.
Yeah, that basically is a free pause because the game forces you to pause to show you that spell, but it basically is the same as a pause, so you can just use that to select it.
JSR does the do smash, and he's breaking on through. Magic Container Cave for both Highlander and JSR. Again, the 100% of the 100% all keys also means you have to get all the containers as well. And a little note, I guess, you know, at what point in time in your life, Buzz Thunder, did you realize that you needed additional magic containers to get the spells in the later towns?
That's a good question. I don't think I ever... I don't remember running into that problem because I used to play this game a lot when I was younger. So I don't think I knew that until it was an option on the randomizer, honestly.
I don't believe I did either because the game does a great job of throwing them in your way before you even need them. And but yeah, for those who don't know, Highlander takes... Let's watch the walk into Palace 4 here first. Highlander takes a road encounter, a planned road encounter, and an encounter on the swamp. JSR goes encountered free and takes the lead as Highlander takes a second encounter. So 2.5 encounters for Highlander, 0 encounters for JSR into the walk into 2.
Yep, and that's what we were saying. All those little things. There's another lead change. So I think that's our third lead change of the race.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Highlander gave up the lead pretty early, and then JSR gave it back when he walked into that may be, yeah, I guess third.
Oh, whatever. It changed a couple times.
So you're saying there's a chance it could change again?
There's definitely a chance.
Well, Highlander gets a pbag drop there, and again, this is they're 4-1-2 heading into this palace. They want to be 6-1-3 when they leave it. This pag is definitely going to help Highlander get to that 5 that will lead him to the 6 as well, because he's still down 200 XP to JSR.
Yeah, JSR is ahead by 1 pbag drop. That Highlander hasn't had the best of luck this time, but again, when you add all that up, you know, we're still really close, and it's just coming down to that 200-point pbag difference.
And to put a nice little ribbon on the magic container spell discussion, you can get all the 4 spell. Every spell you get requires that many magic containers in the game, and obviously you start with 4 magic containers, so you can get all 4 spells to begin with. But the spell in Nubaru, you need 5 containers to get. Then Darunia 6, New Kasuto 7, and Kasuto 8. But again, by the time you get to Nubaru, where you need 5 magic containers, the game already gave you 6. So it's really not that, you know, if you miss the magic container in New Kasuto, I would say, that would be the only time where you didn't know to talk to the lady. That would probably be the only time where you realize that. But again, yeah, I didn't know that until the randomizer had that option as well. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? It's a double negative.
Yeah, I would say you have to do really something really out of sequence, or you would have maybe missed the 7th one in Maze Island.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, long story short, I don't even think BGT would do that. So right. It's going to be no problem. It's just, you know, one of those, you know, nice little facts you'll get for watching races on this channel.
Well, what's the requirement for the lady in New Kasuto to give you
7?
So you have to have 7 there.
Yeah.
So if you got there with missing the 7th in Maze Island, then she wouldn't give you the other one. So you would actually have to go back and grab that before you could get that spell.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a 19-second difference in the PB Dark Magician. I don't know if you guys heard it. There's some milliseconds as well involved. So it's like 18 seconds and 433 millisecond difference, I believe.
Yeah, get it right.
Yeah, no, I think that's good math right there. But you saw Highlander in the room with the, the breakable block platforms that has the key and the dripper. He ran into the dripper, and that gave JSR the lead for the lead change. And both players are arriving at the item in Palace 2, the glove.
Yep, JSR skipping the animation and Highlander having to hold it up, so JSR extends his lead by a couple more seconds, which, if I read the time correctly, is about 6 seconds difference here.
So JSR gets the additional P-bag on the way back. Highlander's having a little trouble with those blocks, breaking them with his face. And the BGT fact bot has been activated in chat, so type !BGT if you want a BGT fact. JSR gets another P-bag, and he's going to take attack 5. So now he's got magic 1, he's got life 2, which means he has to get to life 3 XP, which is... Well, okay, now he's got the magic 3 XP, which is 300 before the boss. So he's got to have 100 XP before the boss to take attack 6. And he'll leave here with 622. But he would ideally want the 3rd life level as well, so that costs 150. And then he'll need 200 XP now at the boss to walk away with 623. Because the boss gives you 200 XP.
Highlander is, probably, he's looking for 612, because he just, I think you can, wow, he doesn't get the drop there, so I really don't know if he gets, because I've never seen somebody do a run where they actually completely missed it and had that type of bad luck, but I think there are a lot more enemies coming up. There's a P-bag in that fancy breakaway bridge room.
Well, he'll have attack 6, no problem, because he just needs 247 more XP here. And then at magic 1 life 2, like I said before, he wouldn't need anything additional because the boss would get him naturally to be able to skip both those levels. So I believe he's fine.
Yeah, he is now. I wasn't 100% positive about what gets thrown at you. So yeah, he's good.
Yeah, when you play this hundreds of times over, like these guys have, they know exactly like what number they need to be at what screen, and then when they're not there, they know how to adjust to compensate.
So both of them are going to be back on track to the optimal leveling coming out of Palace 3. Highlander's just going to be a little bit behind, so he'll just have to kill a couple more enemies. But there was that little bit of difference there in the lead. Taking on Helmet Head, they both dispatch it pretty quickly, and it looks like we're dead even.
On my screen, Highlander has a little bit of a lead, but I'll have to check their timers just to make sure that they are synced up as much as possible. And they look like they are synced up on my screen. Both are at 31:35.
Yeah, maybe Highlander by a second, so... They're both on that little that swamp tile there, and the enemies wouldn't give them the road encounter that they were looking for. They just stood there and waited, but doing it at the same time.
Highlander is behind, not ahead, so you might want to refresh your.
Okay.
Take the walk to Palace 3 right now. Highlander's going to opt for taking the encounter on the road and then walk straight down approach. See if JSR bangs into King's Tomb.
Yeah, just a little brief visit to King's Tomb, reset the encounters, and then head on down south and fall down the hole in the graveyard.
All right, the stream is synced, so whatever everybody sees is what actually is happening. See Highlander take a pause buffer there, a little bit lower than other runners, and he has no problem going there. Got 2 encounters with fairies. Let's see where JSR takes his. Takes this a little bit higher. It doesn't even take it at all. He just runs straight for it and pays for it. Takes the encounter. And yeah, it was a nice, unique situation there, Buzz, where Highlander lost the lead based on prompts at the gem. And JSR gave it back because of encounters on the way to Palace 3, as Yunus points out.
Yeah, exactly. We just keep going back and forth. So again, if we'll keep saying it, Highlander has the lead by about 8 seconds. And again, that since he's going to have to kill a few more things, that might even it back up by the time we get out of this palace.
All right, Highlander's in the BGT room. Don't forget that key. For sure. He doesn't. Let's see if JSR forgets the key.
Nope, they're going to grab all the keys.
Yeah, well, they grab all the keys. They understand the category. Highlander casts jump early there, and that's one thing I don't see a lot of people doing is, like JSR right now, he's going to go through this room, and then, like, if he misses this jump or casts jump right here, then he probably should, like that, he probably should have done it the whole time. But maybe he has a strategy of killing that guy first for some reason.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good place to cast it, especially in Palace 3, because you don't really need to cast much of anything. People do like to cast jump in the the lava pit, the bot room that Highlander's in right here, just because you can jump over the top of those bots so that you won't get knocked back into the lava from them. But again, he did it about perfectly. Highlander did there because he casted it right where he leveled up, so he got full magic anyways. So one more magic level that Highlander's going to take after killing this blue iron knuckle. And again, sorry, I'm probably a little bit ahead.
Yeah, just hold it a little bit. But I think your point's he set it up so that he can cast Fairy as he was getting the XP, so he can take Magic 3 and utilize the full refill there. And walk out of there with the raft 633 and JSR with the raft 633 trailing. So Highlander just made up all that XP. Now, since we want to be 733 on the way out of here, they have to get up to 700 XP to crash that to pass that threshold to cancel Magic 4 to get attack 7. But Rebonex is going to give you 301, so you have to be 399 XP at the boss.
That is correct, which is really easy to do. Ton of experience lying around in Palace 3.
And they're in this stupid idiot room right now.
You like the polar bears?
Yeah, my favorite enemy in the game.
I mean, at least they're worth 20 experience.
I get that reference. Dark Magician made a joke earlier, and I got it 20 minutes later.
Sometimes it takes a minute.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Especially when the jokes are like a year old.
Yeah. But we're moving right along in Palace 3 here. Whoops. There we go. So one of the backup strategies here, and maybe this just applies in different categories, is if you are low on XP, you can take out that blue iron knuckle. I mean, I know that any percent no out of bounds except for ceiling walk may include taking out that blue iron knuckle right there, but there are sources for extra XP in here, and this is where all the XP this is where all the leveling just equalizes, because it's very hard to not get what you need here going out. See, Highlander gets a nice little quick kill.
Yeah, Highlander actually tried to do the kill him, naturally without the cheesing, the downstab in the corner, so it took him a little bit of extra time. So looks like JSR doing the cheesy strats on Rebo gained a little bit of time there.
And we're done with Palace 3, which concludes our trek here on the Western continent. So they got the raft in Palace 3 here, and they're going to sail over to the Eastern continent once they make the walk back. JSR takes another encounter on the island, Palace Island. And he's forced to take a level up there before he soft locks the game when he leaves the screen.
Yeah, that's always fun. You ever done that before?
I have not, because I have not successfully ever placed a gem in this category.
I did it once. It took me completely by surprise. I was like, wait, that can actually happen?
So Highlander bangs into King's Tomb, walks a little bit on the desert there, gets up to the road, and we're sailing over to the Eastern Continent. Eastern Continent will also have 4 towns, 3 palaces, and then the final palace, which is in the Valley of Death. First, go ahead, Buzz.
38-26 for Highlander hitting the raft tile and 38-36 for JSR. So an even 10-second lead for Highlander.
And they're going to wake up to the town of Nubaru, where they're going to fetch some water for the lady and get the spell of fire.
Yeah, it's a good spell. In this category, you actually cast it sometimes.
And it's not
in that cave. It's helpful with that Tektite cave on the way to New Kasuto.
Yeah, in this round, it is not linked to anything, though.
No, it's not. It's just fire, unfortunately.
Yeah. Highlander is the first to arrive at it.
But yeah, they've got a thirsty broad in the town who is potentially on house arrest, and that's why she can't go and get water for herself.
So coming up here is one of the more interesting parts of a 100% all keys race in my eyes. This is when I like to see close races at this point in time. Because the walk to, and then from, and then back to Maze Island, the encounters you take there could dictate the rest of this run. Who gets the lead after that, and who can potentially just stay in the lead, because there's a lot of encounters here that you can miss. And if you get hit by one, it might set the snowball down the hill to get hit by several of them.
Yeah, if you have bad luck, you can add 30 seconds to your time very easily here.
See Highlander slinking, and if you haven't noticed, if you spawn the encounters on a desert tile or a grass tile, the enemies in the overworld spawn a good distance away from you. As you see on JSR screen, if you take one, he just went on the desert to do that and takes an encounter. So 1 encounter for JSR, 0 for Highlander. But if you spawn the encounters when you're on a forest tile, or there are a couple other tiles as well that happens to, the encounters spawn closer to you, and it's harder to slink away from them. But Highlander is the first to arrive at the stupid idiot. I think that's the second time I said that. And he balked a little bit when picking him up. He missed him and started flying the other way, and then had to go back for him. So he lost a couple frames there. But
runner on first.
Yeah, runner on first. First base was not open. But Highlander's going to do what they call the dazzle walk here. JSR will do it in a second. Grab that one up, leave the encounter, and then on a specific frame or audio cue, you start your walk up, walk around, hope for no fairies, and then you arrive at the Desert of Love there, where you're going to potentially pause buffer like Highlander did, I think, unless that was his stream, and skip the encounter just like you did, Buzz, by Palace 1.
Yeah, exactly. Highlander doing really well with his walks in that big forest area. Didn't get any encounters, but unfortunately missed the encounter skip on the second one. The more difficult of the two with your bubbles and everything. But instead of going back and trying again, he just powered right through.
He took a couple bops in there, and JSR he made up some time, but he had the ability to make up more time. But he did stutter a little bit and missed his first window of opportunity to skip that encounter, and had to wait for the overworld enemies to move back in range to do it. And you can see a little bit of a trick here. Both players exhaust their MP pool so that when they refill at the lady, they can cast Fairy in the next area while holding down, so they can go down the chimney to get the upstab, and their meter will fill all the way, because the lady always gives you 255 magic points back in a refill, or until your maximum MP is filled. So that's why you have to exhaust everything.
Hey, it looked like Highlander had his magic going up, and he did the super jump instead of the more consistent fairy. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure why, but he got it his first try.
Yeah, I mean, some people can just, they can see frames, they can do the timing. You play this game enough, I'm sure, you can. JSR, I won't say JSR is obviously JSR has the better PB time or whatever, but I don't believe he's been playing this category as long as Highlander. In fact, I think I've known JSR longer than he's been running this category. And, Highlander, before there was a fairy clause, which just presented itself, last year? I believe the super jump was the way to go, so he probably had the super jump practice that many more times over.
Yeah, that might have just been his old reflex, just going right back to it. Okay, never mind. I see in CF saying in chat that, I guess it's worth to attempt that time save, and you still have enough to cast Fairy if you mess it up. So I guess he was taking that risk, which is not really a risk at all.
Yeah, would he have gotten his full complement of... he's going to get a Magic Container on Maze Island anyway, but he sets up both skips on the way back. He nails them both. JSR has to walk through the first one. He skips the second one. Let's see how Highlander does on his walk. Clean so far. He's going to go way north here. And he's going to get trapped. And this might be devastating because now he's got to walk south and east as opposed to just east and maybe one tile north or south. But he's going to be on a desert where it's going to be easier to move away from the enemies. And he takes a second encounter. So JSR is going to... Did JSR take one encounter early?
Yeah, he did. JSR took 2. So I think they both took 2 just then on that walk. So we're staying at the same distance apart, which is, again, it's been very close. Nothing more than 10 seconds throughout this entire race.
And here's where Highlander is going to pick up his 7th Magic Container of the game, cast Fairy, so it doesn't go through the Humble Brag fanfare.
Oh, look at me. I found a jar.
And JSR does it as well. Queues up Jump, because JSR is going to use Jump in the screen with the keys in Palace 4.
Yeah, we'll see how those early deaths will affect their death abuse, because those are favorite rooms for death abuse. Grab the key and just dive into the lava so you don't have to think about it.
And remember that Highlander picked up an extra 1-up. An extra little digger, extra life doll, whatever you want to call it. So,
yeah. Does he have one more life than JSR does?
Yeah, I believe so, because they both died. And
yeah,
Highlander picked up that doll in the desert before Mito.
Yeah, Highlander's at 4 right now.
But we have arrived in Palace 4 here. Palace 4 does have 6 keys. And there are plenty of places, or at least 3 places, I don't think they're going to do it in all of them, where you can utilize a Death Warp and save a little time by going backwards in a one-way area.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it. I'm not sure exactly how much time that will save, but Highlander has that extra death to give, so he might be able to extend his lead by a little bit more.
Now, I did call a race there, call a race last year, where one of the good runners, top 5 in time actually, accidentally dropped twice before the item room, the boots in Palace 4, and had to go all the way back up and around. So anything could happen. Let's see what happens here. Highlander grabs the key, gets the jar, and he's electing to jump back out of here. So...
Yep, he's playing it safe.
And you can see there how big the time save is. JSR down a life, takes the death abuse, and walks away with the lead.
But I feel he's going to be able to take it at a later point where JSR might...
Right, we have no ceiling walk, so we don't have to disqualify either of the runners. 15 servers are unavailable due to temporary outage in Discord. So if anybody can hear me, please just let me know that it wasn't my internet that went down. As both players get the boots, Highlander picks up the boots with Fairy, and then we have another lead change. All right, thanks, guys, because Discord went down. It has a message that says servers are unavailable due to a temporary outage. So thank you, Discord, and thank you, Buzz Thunder, for helping out where you could. But very exciting Palace 4 here, nonetheless. Technical issues aside that have beyond our control. JSR took the death abuse in the first of the key rooms, got the lead. Highlander had Fairy when he picked up the boots, got the lead back. And then can afford another, takes his first death abuse there. JSR really can't afford the death abuse, so he's going to have to walk out of here. You have to assume that Highlander is going to expand his lead going out of this palace. Buzz notices that JSR did take the wrong level. He does have Magic 4, but that should be okay. You want to leave this palace 8-3-4, but he'll be able to get the 8, and then it won't really matter that much thereafter because Life 4 is only 400 XP. So you can, with the pennies that you get in the other palaces, you can get that easily. Yeah, the boss here gives you 301, just like last palace. So you want to be at 899? I guess that would be for the maximum benefit of the gem. All right, JSR is going to make his way back up and go to the west side of this palace. Highlander grabs the key. He's going to go left here, grab another key. And he's going to get the XP from that guy first. He's in a similar situation, but he's a little bit better off. He'll be all right. Yeah, Reflect is required in this palace. Reflect at magic level 3 costs 80. So at this point in time, Highlander cannot cast it. He would have to then take a death abuse or find a... I don't even know if a lucky jar would even matter, because he might not be at a full 3 bars. So... Oh, he's going to cast Jump here, so he'll probably Death Abuse now. He's got the extra life. Might rely on if he gets Jar or not. He does not get a Jar. He actually downstabs the statue, spawns an Iron Knuckle, and then takes a Death before he gets the key, and JSR is back in the lead. So just like that, the lead changes again. JSR loses his life and might lose his Death Abuse here as well. Does not get a Jar, and he's going to keep going. JSR does die, but he's considered that a Death Abuse. And he's rocking and rolling. I did not see how many lives JSR has left, but he took 2 Death Abuses here. He's died already. He's only picked up 2 of the lives, so does he have 1 more life after this one? 2? Okay. JSR is in the home stretch here. And he'll make his way to the boss of Palace for Karak. Again, you need 80 XP. Well, JSR only needs 48 XP to cast Reflect here. It's Highlander that would need 80 XP because of the difference in magic levels. Has just enough. Perfectly planned. And now it's the waiting game. And the RNG. Let's see how the RNG could favor Highlander here. JSR looks like he has a little bit of bad luck, but arrives at killing the boss first. Highlander is shortly behind, so even though JSR is in the lead, looks like Highlander gave a little bit of a... Got a little bit of a comeback there. Gained a few seconds. And we're going to move on to Palace 5 now. Palace 5 is a simple palace to walk to. You do it mostly in the water. Take a right turn there for JSR, and you'll be on the island where the palace is. So Palace 5 time. JSR is in there at about 53.09, and Highlander gets in there at like 4 seconds behind, 4 or 5 seconds behind. JSR was practicing the eco key beforehand. He does have jump ready, as Fap points out. Highlander takes his attack 8. So 8-3-4 for Highlander, 8-4-3 for JSR. Both players will be around 8-6-6 after this palace, after they place the gem. See if JSR nails it. He does nail it. And what that does is that lets him get that key in one motion. And Highlander misses it, so he's got to ferry through and then come back for that key. So that's the beauty of the eco key right there, is you save all that time. And Highlander goes and gets the key, and he's coming right back, so. Palace 5 is long and windy. There's the flute is the item in here, but there is one key like way off the beaten path. And it's one of the more annoying palaces to do because of that. There's a lot of ground to cover in here for 5 keys that exist. So for Highlander, he's just got to get to 300 XP to benefit from the gem. Well, which means that he'll be able to afford an extra magic level. JSR will be able to afford an extra life level, and then they'll get to the required amount of XP and take the remainder. Actually, I believe you also take another level in this palace. Is it life 5 you take as well? So that they'll use the remainder of the overflow of attack 9 on getting to 866 once they're done here. Oh, so they placed the gem at 844? Okay, thank you. No spawning Magos in Highlander's way there. They all cooperated and stood a little bit of a distance. JSR is going to go through the fake wall. One of the downsides I've heard of this game is that nothing is transparent in the game. That a lot of things require you just to know them to progress, and that's not exactly true. There are very helpful hints in the game from the townsfolk, and one of them does say to pass through the wall. And that's exactly where you do it. JSR is at the item room. And this is where he'll pick up the flute, which will get rid of the River Devil in the road on the walk to New Casino in Palace 6. So semi-cooperative Magos here. Definitely not the ones V. Resner likes to find. And now we got to make our walk back to the main area of the palace to collect some more keys and head on to the boss, Guma. See if JSR goes right into that hitbox on the Guma fight. And remind everybody that this is the Group F that both these players are in. Both runners are 2-0. Both defeated Max Ketchum and J-Lo. JSR had a time of 81.19 and 77.53. Highlander had 79.55 and 83.32. And they'll both have to play Jay Coper after this for their 4th and final match. There was one other time both these runners raced officially on SRL for this category. It was a 6-player race. JSR finished that race at 90 minutes and 18 seconds. And Highlander did not finish the race at all. The race was won by Simple Dude. I'm sorry, 80 minutes and 18 seconds. Simple Dude was first, V. Resner was second, Anti was third. JSR, Justin Man Bledsoe Favre was fifth. And Highlander bowed out of that match. So how many people who run this are actually worried about soft locking if you feel like you're behind? Does the focus on trying to make up time make you oblivious to the XP counting up? Or is that something you're always focused on in certain places of the palace? See Highlander grab that red jar there? You don't have to be Swedish to grab it. JSR gets the last key. That is not the last key, my bad. No, not how many people try to do it, but how many people are mindful of the possibility that they potentially soft lock when they feel like they're behind and they're just trying to, push the controller in every direction to go faster. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that was the last key for JSR. That was my fault. So he's trying to get in the hitbox, but he'll just stab him a couple times right at the knee and take him down. He's got the required amount of XP by far, so does Highlander, and he'll place this gem for maximum benefit. And then somewhere on the walk to New Kasuto, he'll be able to get to 866. See how Highlander does on the fight. He casts shield, he casts life. Gets in there, stabs a couple times, and yeah, attack 8 Guma is really not that hard. And he'll move on. See JSR casting Fairy there to get rid of the fanfare. He's going to get his magic refilled anyway when he takes Magic 5, which is going to be coming up in the next encounter. Which he may take on purpose. Nope. He's going to try to set up a skip here. He gets it, and here's his level ups. Going to put 2 in magic, 2 in life, and then we're going to move on. We'll bank the 3,300. We won't take the ceramic dog or put the remainder on the service merchandise gift certificate. But we'll cast Fairy and plow right through this screen. So it's going to be the walk over to Bonner Pass and New Kasuto coming up. Right after one more road encounter. See how Highlander does on the skip. And he nails it as well. He already took his level ups from an earlier encounter. Now we're going to walk over for JSR. He's going to go into this bridge tile to reset the step encounter and time encounter of the overworld enemies. Swim a little bit in the swamp and hope for a back spawn. Does not get it. He'll take 1 encounter. Potentially leading up to a second encounter as well. And there's the second encounter. See if Highlander can do a little bit better. He'll catch up a little bit if he can. And there is Bonner Pass. Highlander takes a half encounter by walking onto the forest tile instead of sticking to the road. Stabs out of frustration. And we'll see how he does up here. He's got the Troll Fairy, but again, it could have been worse for him. Let's see if he gets the second encounter. Nope, he can slink right by this one. So he got 2 half encounters, and then casts Fire, while JSR finds New Kasuto. He's going to refill his magic because he's going to pick up the spell. spell in this town, and he's going to erect the building at the back end of the town. And pick up the item there, the magic key. There are no keys in Palace 6 except for that one. The ones that drop from the sub-bosses and the boss. Yeah, that death in 4 on his way to get that key before he picked it up was really critical as well. And add both of them together and you get the sizable lead that it is right now, but it is not over. There's still a Valley of Death walk as well. You know, potential quick kill on Barba, or missing a quick kill on Barba. Making it 2 Palace 6 encounterless as well. But there you go. JSR gets the magic key as Highlander picks up the spell for the magic key, so they'll give a bro hug to each other pretty soon. Like right about now. Leaning in, a little pat around the back. Highlander erects the building, and he'll be getting the magic key. I'm gonna have to ask chat to calm down just a little bit and remain professional at all times. JSR picks up the magic jar there. The magic jar, you need 7 magic jars to get. I don't know why I don't have that emote, Dark Magician, especially after the circumstances surrounding it. But nevertheless, we're moving on here. JSR is going back through Bonner Pass. And he'll make his way to the last heart container in the game in the desert. Just east of Palace 4, or Palace 6, rather. Highlander concludes his trip in New Kasuto. Make sure you tell your friends all about it. JSR misses the slink, and he'll take 1 encounter. So here's a place where Highlander could... He took that pretty early as well, that encounter. That might lead to more encounters. So you can get away from this guy. He takes a 2nd encounter. So Highlander could make up a little bit of time here in the walk to the heart container. Takes a couple bops, so that might negate the time he can make up on the walk. It is the irresistible force versus the immovable object in this race. Again, they're both separated by 19 seconds or 18 seconds and a handful of milliseconds. But JSR is the first to go into Palace 6. And there is Highlander, quick to follow. So let's see, walking into this room where you need to jump, he's at 106, and we'll see how long it takes Highlander to get there. JSR goes jumpless there. Not the hardest jump in the world to make, but a little risky, especially if you miss that. Could be somewhat devastating to get back up. You have to fall 5 times to do it. But yeah, I already forgot what time JSR made it to this room, and I forgot to look at what time Highlander went to the room, but it's a lead nonetheless. JSR does cast jump in this room here, the Riku player room. Oh wait, no, not in this category, my bad. And he's at the Canadian hole. Cast jump again. Jumps over the beam. Jumps, gets the jar. Full magic on his way out. To fight the mini-boss holding the item. The item is the cross. Cross lets you see invisible enemies, and despite what Buzz Thunder says, it does not let you see, does not get you into Great Palace. It's not required to remove the barrier. Doesn't matter how many times you say it. But JSR is going to grab it right now. No fairy cast. Going to hold it up. Very proud of it. He reverse Canadian holes right there, like a boss. Let's see if Highlander can do the same. And makes that jump right there for JSR without the additional benefit of jump. Highlander also makes the jump. So hits on enemies here and there. Oh, Highlander misses that jump. He's going to cast jump and backtrack a little bit to make it through. So every hit you take on an enemy does cost you a little bit of time. It knocks you backwards. So not only do you have to be mindful about the life you can lose, but also how much time are you going to lose just by getting knocked backwards. You can see Highlander does get hit there, but he's facing in such a direction where the hit actually damage boosted him a little bit towards the direction he was going in. See how careful JSR is in this room? He makes it through with no problem. And Highlander misses the ceiling walk. We don't have to disqualify him. JSR gets that red drop. Oh, Highlander almost did it. But he pogos up and back onto the thing, and then he gets knocked in, so no Canadians fell down the hole today, but a Highlander did drop in the lava. So that looks like a planned pogo right there to almost get knocked, jump into the lava, but the swag recover. JSR is at the second of the mini-bosses here. This is Reboneck number 2. This one will lead to a drop, of which you'll need to cast Fairy to get out of. Lance Hesh Plaws in chat, please. Nailed it. And so did JSR. He'll be grabbing that key and moving on. Queues up Fairy. We'll drop right here. And Fairy on through to the other side. Where it's boss time. Or Barba fight. Let's see how JSR handles this. He's setting up for the the jackhammer. And nicely done there. Upstabs the key, and he'll be on his way to the Great Palace. But first, there's a stopover in the town of Kasuto and a lot of walking. Highlander is going to be in the screen for the Rebo fight as JSR leaves Palace 6 and heads west to the town of Kasuto. He's going to ferry through here because he's going to take Magic 7. Magic 7 will refill his life. Sorry, Highlander is going to be on the Barba fight. He already did the Rebo fight. Grabs the key, and he's on his way. So with 8 magic containers in hand, the old man in this town will give you the spell of Thunder, and Thunder is required to beat the game. It's a necessity to cast on Thunderbird to reveal his face so you can damage him. But also required because it is 100% all keys, and that's part of the 100%. If we haven't made that abundantly clear before. But needless to say, the winner of this match will take a significant lead into the in the group. While the winner will have to win their next match against Jake Hoper. And at best, become second place in the group. At worst, force a wild card situation where Jake Hoper has the chance to be 3-1 if one of them does beat Jake Hoper. He has the chance to be 4-0 as well. Jake Hoper has not done a race yet in this tournament. So that's still a possibility. Jake Hoper could play spoiler, according to the tiers that were presented. JSR gets the nice skip there on the road tile, and he's going to set up his walk to the Valley of Death. Gets a nice back spawn, but gets hit by that one. He's going to liberally use the spell of spell. to turn all the flying enemies into bots, drop them into the lava, misses the first encounter skip in Valley of Death, hits the second one, queues up spell again, pogo over that guy, and he's going to move on over to the second spike tile. And that was not it. So that's a second encounter that JSR has taken. Let's see if Highlander, he gets the skip. And he's going to have to go get that red jar where JSR did not. So he's going to lose a little bit of time there, but he can save the time in the walk. JSR has taken an encounter, which Highlander does as well, and he's missed 2 encounters. Highlander's going to set up for the second of the 2, or second of the 3, I should say. But he takes that encounter, and now he's going to be up to the second one. As JSR makes his way out of the first cave, Highlander does nail that skip. And JSR nails the third skip with no problem at all. So he'll be in the final stretch here at the Great Palace. He's going to kill that blue Lizalfos because he's going to try to set it up to take Magic 6. I'm sorry, Magic 8. That costs 6,000. And be 886 in Great Palace. 8's a good magic level to have. It reduces the cost of Thunder from 100 to 64. Also reduces the cost of Reflect from 24 to 16. So going into the Thunderbird fight, if you have the extra magic, you can throw it into Reflect, Jump, Shield, whatever you want to do. However you're comfortable fighting it. So the first thing we do in Great Palace is we take a left until the first elevator, then we take rights for days until we have to go down, and then more rights, and eventually we'll pass through the area that has the 1-up doll to the left and fairy to the right. And we'll go down one more screen and we'll take a left, followed by down and a couple drops. Very easy. For as many rooms as it is in Great Palace, there's a very easy route to learn. 40-second lead from the from Dark Magician of the Elias Sports Bureau for JSR. So there are very few places in Great Palace where a runner with this experience as both of these players will get tripped up. An unfortunate death for some reason, whether it's in the Scott Bekula room or maybe this Chicken Knight that just jumps on you and just stays behind you and is persistent with hitting you in the back with knives. As you can see, JSR did not have a good time in that room, has to use extra magic to cast life. It's chip damage, and you know it counts as losing time. But I would say the Scott Bekula room is probably the more important of the rooms to lose time in, whether he cooperates or not, whether you can get off your jump. And then just having bad fights, having bad Thunderbird fights, having bad Darklink fights. So here's the Scott Bekula room now for JSR. No, he's a ways away. So let's see if he can hit the jump. He does. No problem at all whatsoever. He gets hit by that beam, but no big deal. The worst of the rooms are behind us now. Now it's just all about having that, to save time, having that life where you can take the intentional death to refill your magic. There's also a few jar opportunities along the way. Not sure that was a intentional death because JSR did walk around the first set of flames. Probably just got too close when he was trying to jump over, but nonetheless, he's now back in full health, full magic. As Highlander is in the Scott Bekula room, and Scott is a close talker. Misses the block on the jump, takes a couple bops, has to go back, reset it, misses the jump again. Now he's made a mess of the waffle. and takes a death in that room. And he only has 1 life left, so even if JSR has a disaster, Highlander's now got to watch his magic going into the T-Bird fight, so he has enough to cast Thunder, at the very least. There is a 1-up in here, an extra doll, that Highlander could get. But being how it's almost at the 80th minute mark, he'll probably feel like he's behind and not spend that extra time going to get it. JSR is going to take the first of 2 drops there. Sorry, the last of the drops. Had full magic, didn't need to take the intentional death, and now he's on the Thunderbird fight here. Casts a bunch of spells. I believe that was shield and jump. He's going to wait on the platform for Thunderbird, cast Thunder, and then just go to town here. And Thunderbird is down for JSR. And after Thunderbird is Dark Link here. JSR doesn't take any chances, cast shield. And here we go. Last fight of the game for JSR. Stab him when he comes at you. Jump stab if he doesn't hesitate. And there you go. JSR wins the race against Highlander with a time of 79 minutes and 34 seconds. And Highlander is now into the Thunderbird fight. One more stab, and Thunderbird is down. Looks like Discord is back as well, so we'll see if these guys want to join me. And it's Darklink time for Highlander. And Mr. JSR, how are you? Congratulations. I don't know if he can hear me, but he's in the commentary, so we'll wait for him.
Ah, there we go.
Hello.
I forgot which one my push to talk key was. What's up, Larry?
How you doing, man? Congratulations.
Oh man, that was a rough run, dude.
Let's get to the run here, but let me ask you a question. Do you when you race, are you aware of what the other runner's doing? Do you have my stream open, their stream open, or you play totally blind?
I usually play totally blind. I don't want to ever change my game based on what the opponent is doing. So if like he takes an unfortunate death, or if I know I have a big lead, I don't want to like say, okay, I'm going to play safe or something like that. I always stick to my game plan pretty much.
There were many lead changes in this game prior to Palace 4 and inside of Palace 4. One places where I brought up the question or the thought to ask you the question if you watch the other runner is that you both had 1 death in Palace 1. And coming out of Death Mountain, Highlander had the lead and opted to get the 1-up, the doll in the desert by the grave. You decided to just go right for Medicine Cave, and I was wondering if you saw that and decided, hey, here's a place I can make up a little time, or since you had the death as well. Did you ever get that 1-up?
Only if, like in an attack 3 run, you usually will take a death just because you're weaker. I mean, it depends, you know. I mean, I usually have 1 extra life in a race that I kind of save in case I take a death or in case I totally flubby Goki and I'm just like not trying to mess around with the block room or something like that. Because I like to have that extra life in my pocket in case Great Palace is trolly. And yeah, I mean, unless I take 2 deaths before I get the hammer, I'm not going to get that doll ever.
Were you proud of anything you did in this run where you said, hey, I'm so glad I did that way because that, was one of the better times I've done that certain area?
My early game was trash. And I think that was partially because I was attack 3 and partially just because I knew I was up against Highlander and he's a great racer, a great runner. And I knew that if I wasn't on point, that he was going to win this race. So I was pretty salty up until about the swamp walk into Palace 2, which was like the first thing in this run that went flawlessly. That was a great swamp walk, and that kind of got me back into the zone. And I mean, my middle game, I'd say between Palace 2 and Palace 6 was strong. I was actually very, very happy with everything in that stretch, other than maybe taking some encounters to and from the maze and missing some of my slinks. But yeah, I mean, the middle of this run, I was very, very happy with.
Can we talk about that, the visit into that townhouse that you took?
Okay, so something's weird with my controller today, and I don't know if it's just today or if it's me, but up isn't registering properly on my controller right now. Like, I don't know if you noticed when I left Fairy Town, that manipulation we do to break the boulder and get into the cave to get the heart container.
Smash. Yeah, that bolt. That's
yeah. For some reason, I couldn't go up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to take an encounter. And then when I was leaving Darunia, or what I think it was Darunia, it might have been a different town, but yeah, he just entered the house, and I was like, really? Okay, I guess I'm going to say hi to her real quick.
Yeah, that was a key moment in the game. That's one of the many places where Highlander did take the lead, and Highlander is joining us now. Highlander, good game, man. Sorry I had to go for a loss for you.
Yeah, Highlander, great game.
That was just.
Why don't you give us your take on things here?
Well, I don't know where to start with that. Magic Cave, I guess. That was interesting.
Yeah, you got bodied in Magic Cave, and I was worried that you were going to take a death there.
I honestly, I think I'd have been better off just resetting. I would have been in a better state of mind. I died in P1, but oh well.
I did bring up that point. So you are allowed to just flat out abandon a run and reset?
Oh, I could have reset and restarted it. I would have only lost 25 seconds there.
Yeah.
It might have been worth it. Oh well, that's no.
Well, there was.
I thought it would. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's your show.
Oh no, it's not. No, I thought I would regain my composure quicker, but man, I just got bodied everywhere that whole run. P1.
So I'm not going to be setting up this point for point here, but there were, I was telling JSR before as you were finishing up, there were a lot of places which leads changed here. You guys were walking through Rudo, and JSR just decided to go into a building for no reason.
Nice.
And you took
Which one?
Yeah, you took the lead there. There was placing the gem, I think, in Palace 3 or 2. You had to skip a couple extra levels, and JSR was already there with the, with the required amount, skipping the levels. So at the pedestal, you had to skip a couple levels right there, and you lost the lead there.
Jesus, we were actually pretty tight then.
Yeah, you did not, in the first room with the key in Palace 4, you did not death abuse. JSR, who had one less life than you at the time, did death abuse, took the lead there. And then in the next screen, you death abused and took the lead back. And then you had that problematic screen in 4 where you were going for the key, spawned the iron knuckle, and then died before you grabbed the key.
That threw me for... I must have hit my down stab as I was going over him, and I didn't even realize. And that was devastating, honestly.
Yeah. That's where the lead changed hands and never came back. But then JSR nailed Eco Key, and you missed Eco Key, and you had to ferry through, so there was a little bit of time there. It looks like you chipped away time here and there because JSR took some encounters, got bopped around a little bit, but it was the combination of that and Palace 4 and the Eco Key that was the deciding factor in the race. Let me ask you
the Beakula death was bad, too.
Yeah, the Beakula death was, he got on you, and he stayed way far away from JSR. So
that was a fight. My favorite part of the run, though, I'm going to say, was getting super jump.
I was going to ask you.
You went for super jump?
Yeah.
I always do.
There was a little bit of debate in chat whether super jump is actually, in fact, faster than just doing the ferry. It is. And I brought up the fact that maybe you've just done this game so many times that super jump is just natural to you and you can hit it like every time.
See, I go for it every run, no matter what, because that instant cast, I can cast ferry while I'm still in the air. So you really don't lose any. But you have to walk in, cast, and jump. You can't set up. You have to walk in and cast.
Right. Yeah, and then you can recover with fairy if it doesn't go well. But
Yeah, it's just fun to do.
well,
Like I said, I played with super jump before, so it's just I know how to do it. It's just natural, like you.
Yeah, because
Well,
JSR, you're relatively, in terms of, I guess, the length of time Highlanders run this category, you're relatively new to this category, correct?
Yeah, I started running all keys in prep for the tournament last year, so it's been about a year. I took a big break this past summer because of the bounty race. I learned a different category and kind of put all keys away and picked it back up in prep for this tournament. And there's still a couple things that go wrong in races that I honestly should be practicing, like attack 3. I totally flubbed that, and then when I misleveled in Palace 4, I accidentally took Magic 4 instead of Life 4. I kind of was in panic mode, like, oh man, I know I needed to get like 800 experience or 900 experience points now, so I was killing everything and ended up with way too much experience, and just things like that that an experienced runner might not do, I still kind of do from time to time.
Yeah, and apologies to you for not noticing. I was doing the commentary with Buzz Thunder, and Discord decided to have an issue, but like a just flat out, you can't access anything on Discord issue on both of our sides. So I'm trying to restart that and get Buzz back. I missed you accidentally taking that Magic 4, but luckily chat was right on it and informed me, and that was a question I had for you, whether it was intentional or not intentional, and I guess not intentional.
Yeah, totally an accident. And that was like the biggest mental flub I think I had. My execution early was the biggest reason this run wasn't a little better. Like I was already a minute and 10 behind my splits at jump. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's just rough to start. But I mean, that's how it goes in races, though. You can't ever just count on getting the P bag. You can't count on getting attack 4. And we both died in Palace 1. I mean, I almost went for the Fairy of Shame. I almost went for it. I was like, dude, there's no way. If I go for the Fairy of Shame, man, that's like minus 5 minutes right there. So
yeah,
I didn't expect that Doom Knocker or the Doom Rattler to jump over my head like that. I was on the wrong hammer, so when I went to wait for him, it just threw me for a loop, landed on me.
So I have 2 more questions for you, Highlander, and one of them is, in fact, since you didn't get that first P-Bag drop, Dark Magician and Rep alerted me to this fact. You actually skip a large enemy, so you get an additional drop in Death Mountain?
Yes, I skipped the last Doom Rattler Palace 1, purposely set up an extra bag drop.
And
saves only 2 seconds P1, but it still sets you up for an extra drop to the whole run.
And follow-up question to that, when was the first time you actually got a P-Bag to drop? It seemed like you got jars every time.
It was in Death Mountain. I got one in Death Mountain because then I didn't have to worry about my XP anymore.
Well, in Palace 2, was it, or Palace 3? I already closed my notes. You were way behind on the supposed, traditional leveling route. And
yeah.
What happened there?
I didn't take any extra levels of Palace 2 just in case. I knew I had enough XP, but I still wanted to make sure, just in case I accidentally hit magic or something.
Okay.
So I just killed everything and just left my levels low how they were, and just leveled up extra in Palace 3.
Okay.
I know where I can recover some XP in there quick for a couple extra kills.
Yeah, that was the basic theme of everything was, it doesn't matter what he's at now. The only important thing is you both had attack 3 at the time you had attack 3, and everything is going to level out pretty quickly anyway. But it was a fun race and an enjoyable race, and I thank you guys for letting me restream it for you.
Well, thank you. It's
absolutely,
nice to
man.
Restream.
Thank you so much, Larry and Buzz. I guess it was on commentary with you. Thank you guys. Thanks to everyone watching, and of course Highlander, man, thank you for the race. GG, sir.
Thank you, JSR, man. I've been looking forward to this all week. And
Same
tell
here.
Buzz I'm sorry. I tried to shout him out, but where I died to Bicula, I didn't want to risk losing any HP against the
he would have very much enjoyed the shout out, but unfortunately because of Discord we lost Buzz, at wherever we lost it. Wherever JSR messed up his leveling is where we lost it, and unfortunately. But yeah, thanks again, guys. Good luck to you, JSR. You're 3-0, prime position to take your group. You both have a race with Jay Coper left, and Highlander, you have a chance to improve to 3-1 off of that race. So good luck to both of you.
Thank you very much. See you later, JSR. Thanks for the race, man.
Thanks, you too, man.
All right, guys, have a good one.
You too.
You too.
All right, there you have it. Highlander, unfortunately, loses to JSR for times of JSR finished at 79:34 and Highlander 80 minutes and 58 seconds, moving JSR to 3-0, first place in his group, and Highlander is going to 2-1, second place in his group. The rest of the people in his group are, in 1 second, Jay Coper 0-0. He has not played a race yet. Max Ketchums is 0-2. JLo 7 is 0-2. So both players have their last match left with Jay Coper. Jay Coper playing the spoiler here. He still has a chance to win his group. If JSR beats Jay Coper, JSR wins the group. And if JSR loses to Jay Coper and then Jay Coper wins out, it'd be JSR and Jay Coper tied for first and second place. But I don't think there's a chance for a three-way tie at the top because JSR beat Highlander. Highlander would have to beat Jay Coper. Jay Coper would have to beat JSR. Yeah, I guess there is a 3-1 scenario for everybody up top. But no, because, yeah, there is. Okay, well, nevertheless, that is it for me. And thank everybody for joining us. Congratulations again to JSR. And stay tuned for more races in the 100% All Keys tournament. Sven, however you want to say it. Depends on what country you're from, I guess. And Bent Glass Tube is going to be happening in 20 minutes, and that race does not currently have a restream, but keep an eye out for it. And keep an eye out on the tournament page for more races coming soon. I will see you guys later.